Hello students, in this tutorial we're going to talk about using the lasso tool, particularly the magnetic lasso tool, adding layers, and using the paint bucket tool. So the first thing we do, as always, is duplicate our layer, which I have already done. And I'm going to leave those eyeballs on just those two steps right there. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to my lasso tool. And if you hold this in, you'll see there's a regular lasso, a polygonal, and magnetic. The regular lasso tool doesn't give you a whole lot of ability here. It just kind of makes, a very loose sketch around things. So to actually have to lasso her out would be very difficult to do. So instead, again, to get those marching ants off there, I always go back to the marquee tool. Go back down the magnetic lasso tool. And what's nice about the magnetic lasso tool is it kind of attaches itself to wherever and whatever you are trying to outline. And you may hear me clicking my mouse button lightly, and each time I do that it's creating a point. So that way if I get off the path this way, I can hit the delete button as many times as possible and it'll pull those points back up so then I can hit that point again and get it to be a little bit more particular. Okay, I'm not going to spend the entire time moving everything around, so to kind of zoom back out, I'm going to do this rather quickly. But basically what you do with this tool is you have to finish where you start. So basically I have to go all the way around and then I double click right here, oops, so that I get everything that I wanted outlined. Okay, and at this point I have my entire part selected, and again this is not quite as detailed or tailored to as I did when I did this before. Now we do a right click and do a layer via copy, and notice that a layer will appear in your layers palette over on the side. And I'll turn the eyeballs off of the other ones. Now that's the one that I did just now, not quite as detailed. I'm going to select the one called Final that I made, turn the other eyeballs off, and notice that this is shaped a lot more detailed because I took my time with that lasso tool. I also went in afterwards, and as the tool we used in our other tutorial, the eraser tool, I used the eraser tool to maybe clean up some areas that might still need some attention. So maybe some areas, up here and with her hair or along the edges of her face, I can kind of clean up pretty easily with that. Now the next thing that I want to do is I want to do something called adding a new layer, and I go down to this little box that looks like a post-it note and I hit create a new layer. What I want to do next is I want to use this sample tool. I want to pull a color from her suit. I'm going to use this eyedropper tool. I'm going to pull this blue from her suit here. If you see, if I go to different things, if I go to the red, you notice down here this changes to red. I'm going to pull the blue, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the paint bucket tool right in here to dump this color in. And now, oops, it's taken over the whole picture. Well, again, what we remember about layers is it has to do with your front, bring to front, send to back, only has to do with how you have things layered. So I bring her on top of that color swatch that I've made to then see her cut out from the background and placed onto a new colorful background. Now for any of those that you want to play with something here too, there's also a gradient tool up here where you can pull different colors in to that background if you wanted to have something different than just a plain color behind it. We'll spend more time with the gradient tool and the paint bucket tool within the next couple months, but I just wanted you to know that those items were here. So essentially you now know how to use the lasso tool. You know how to then do a right click and layer via copy so that you get just the image by itself. And then you know also how to add a new layer so you can drop in a different color background. So again, you must perform this on this photograph as well as picking one photograph of your own, and you may create the background of your choice. Good luck!